It has been a very long time since I have done any player versus monster player in the Lord of the Rings Online. So PvP or PvMP in LOTRO is a system where two factions fight against each other. So you have your regular characters, which are the free peoples or freeps for short, and you fight against monster players. So when you create a character in LOTRO, you can actually create a monster player. The regular freeps have a lot more PvE content. They're the characters that play through the regular game, the Lord of the Rings story, and all that sort of stuff, while the monster players are pretty much primarily focused on PvMP, and they have a lot more limited content, and they can really only explore the Etttenmoors. And this is a system that I have engaged with a little bit way back in the day, especially during the Rise of Isengard expansion, but I have not done much PvMP since then. I think in general, I just haven't found much reason to go there, and when I have tried to do PvMP, it has not been engaging. Now, I know the developers have started to do a lot of work on PvMP the past couple years. With update 35, which is in beta right now, they're doing even more work. And with this, I came across a really interesting post from the developers about incentivizations for players to do PvMP content in the game. By the way, shout out to the developers for all these great posts that they have been making lately. It's really been a step up in communication compared to previous times that we have had. But with this post, what I really feel like is it's almost made for a player just like me, because one of the reasons I have not done PvMP lately in the game is that there's just no incentive for me to go there and try it. I actually do generally enjoy PvP content. To be honest, enjoy player versus player a lot more in World of Warcraft for a comparable game. In WoW, there's a lot more incentive for me to play, and if I just decide I want to randomly do PvP content, I can go to Battlegrounds, I'll potentially get some gear. If I'm a leveling character, I can get some XP, and there's just a lot of things that you can get out of it. I realize World of Warcraft's PvP system is entirely different, but again, the focus here is on the incentives, and I do feel incentivized to PvP in WoW compared to LOTRO. So before I even get to this, just some loose ideas I have for what type of incentives I would like to see for PvMP to actually get me to go out there. One is, if I am a leveling character, I want the balance and scaling to actually be where I can be competitive. Say if I'm a level 33 character and I want to do PvMP as a free people, I can actually go to the Etttenmoors and be somewhat competitive, and even on a leveling character like that, get rewards out of it. I realize that is a lot of work and out of the scope of what they are sharing in this post, but that would actually go a long way to help me maybe occasionally just go to the Etttenmoors if I just happen to feel like it at the time. I think some other things include long-term benefits for characters. In LOTRO, there are a lot of character or class systems, one of which is of course Virtue XP, another one is the legendary item system, the system itself, and the reward track, so LIXP, and there's of course also going to be gear and things like that. Outside of that, I also think cosmetics could be a great incentive for some people to do PvMP, especially if they're kind of war themed in a way that makes them more special to the Etttenmoors. So with some of my loose ideas out there, let's go ahead and look at what they have for some possibilities. So the first type of reward for a weekly quest is going to be a tiered one, so you can actually complete this quest twice. The first one will give you reward pack 2, which gives you, compared to reward pack 3, so if you do this quest the second time, you get reward pack 3, but for this quest, the first one, you will get all of these rewards. I honestly have no reference point for commendations in the infamy/renown, so I'll skip that for now, but I guess that could be okay. Honestly, 2000 Virtue XP, my initial impression is that would not be enough to incentivize me to go there. Again, I don't know how that would combine with these other ones. Legendary item XP, I'm also guessing that would not be enough for me personally to go there. We're running into issues here, but me not knowing what the Etttenmoors gear and like one pull from that, I don't have much context with that. If that's actually decent gear that you can use outside of the Etttenmoors even, then that would perhaps be something that could help push me towards going there. You also get Etttenmoors consumables, which if I remember correctly, those ones you can only use in Etttenmoors. It would make sense that you get some Ettenmoor only rewards if you're doing PvMP content in the Etttenmoors, but that wouldn't personally apply to me too much, to be honest. And then you also get legendary item traceries. You get one pull from that. It says rare, incomparable, or legendary. And then for reward pack 3, that would be pretty similar, but basically less on everything else. Less legendary item XP, less virtue XP, less infamy renown, commendations, lower quality legendary item traceries pull, and you still do get one pull from the Ettmoors gear and a stack of Ettmoors consumables. Now, for me, my initial impressions here is this probably alone would not be enough to actually motivate me to go to the Etttenmoors, especially when I have to consider there's a lot of other fun content in the game, and if I'm going to be picking something, I often do like more long-term rewards that can build my character up over time. And there are just a lot of other valuable options. Even something like missions, just running instances, sounds like it would overall be more rewarding than this, at least based on the weekly. But let's go ahead and see what the requirements are, because if it's really easy to complete and you can do it in an hour or two to even get both of them, then that might not actually be too bad. So it looks like the tiered weekly, the specific one, is going to require you to do... So you actually have to specifically kill Grodress, capture the places here, and 5 completions of the kill enemy player quest, and then 10 specific Etttenmoors quests in a week. That actually sounds like a lot to me that you have to do specifically all of these, but if you do that again, you can repeat it and do the same cycle for Reward Pack 3. So that one, just my first impression of it from what I am seeing here, probably would not get me to PvMP. But let's check out the generic tiered weekly rewards. So this one's like the previous one. It has 2 weekly completions, but it combines the goals. So you would need to complete any 5 of those. I think that would help me, because I just imagine myself, if I wanted to go to the Etttenmoors, I might not want to do every single thing like that, and having a freedom to choose which of those that I want to do would probably be helpful. It does seem like you would still have to do what they're calling the marquee quests here, which includes killing Grodress, capturing these places, and then you would have to do 15 other Etttenmoors quests on top of that. And we'll just continue down the line here for the combined weekly specific option they have here for a weekly quest. So this one does require specific quest completions. You have to do all these ones, and you have to do them twice each, and you have to kill a number of enemy player quests, so that's going to be 10 of them, and another number of Etttenmoors quests in a given week. So that would unlock tier 2 of the weekly rewards and grant you access to Reward Pack 2. If I'm not mistaken, it honestly seems like you would just be doing twice the work about as the 2 previous options they had for the same rewards, and you can't even repeat it. You just complete it once and you'll get access to Reward Pack 2. So that one, just based on my first impressions here, would probably be the least appealing, and I don't think that would definitely not get me to the Etttenmoors. But then the last one here is the one that finally gets to Reward Pack 1, which we have not even looked at. But this one just requires you to complete 10 of the top tier quests. I'm guessing that means the same as the marquee quest that they were calling it earlier. You have to complete 10 of those, and then just 30 other quests in the Etttenmoors, and you get access to Reward Pack 1. So what is Reward Pack 1? So this one's actually more than Reward Pack 3 and Reward Pack 2. It seems to be about both of them combined. Yeah, just about both of them combined for these 4 rewards, but then you still get 1 pull for gear, 1 pull for the stack rather of Etttenmoors consumables, and the same legendary item traceries pull. Considering that this generic one gives you a little bit more freedom and just sounds easier than the previous one for even better rewards with Reward Pack 1, that one would be more appealing to me again. So from my perspective here, I am initially more inclined to like the generic quest that they have, because that means I would again have the freedom to choose which of the pieces of content I want to do in the Etttenmoors. Now, if their goal is to get people to actually spread out and do all these different pieces of content and do all these different marquee quests, then that probably wouldn't work out quite as well for that. But you know, I'm just kind of thinking here, if I were to go PvMP and somehow were incentivized to go to the Etttenmoors, I would probably prefer to do what I want and not feel like I'm being forced to do all these specific quests. But again, even though I felt like this post was targeted at a player like me, I might not actually be the target player for these rewards. Something I have seen is players also suggesting getting embers into these rewards, and I think that would go a way to helping as well. I honestly feel like the current way embers works is a little bit kind of oddly paced is ultimately how I would describe it, but I think still having a generic system like that where doing many different types of content in LOTRO can get you this embers gear, or at least get you this embers barter currency that you can use to barter for gear, maybe even LI stuff or all sorts of different things. I think promoting that system and extending it to other parts of the game, other pieces of content like PvMP would actually be a great thing. Now, on the topic of incentivizing, I still don't know that that would be enough to actually get me to the Etttenmoors. So overall, besides the addition of embers that we talked about, from my perspective of more PvE, improving my character as a free outside of the Etttenmoors, one of the things I would really like to see from all these would be a lot more virtue XP to actually get me to go there. If this rewarded a significant amount of virtue XP, I do think that could be a lot more motivating, and as I previously talked about, for a leveling character, that is still something I would like to see. Again, that I think require a whole lot more broader work, but if you did get rewards relevant, at least for a leveling character, that could be beneficial, and I know virtue XP would factor into that. And then it has honestly been a long while since I've messed around with the legendary system, or honestly paid attention to the reward track, so my numbers could be slightly off, but I'm thinking if you got enough legendary item XP for 1 or 2 levels in the reward track outright from a weekly quest, that would probably be better. And from what I remember, it does require more than all these give in terms of the LI XP. And then again, I should point out, just to summarize all the rewards here, that I don't have any reference for what one pull from Etttenmoors gear would really look like, and the Etttenmoors consumables, again, would not help from outside the Etttenmoors. And then I do like the idea of one pull for legendary item traceries. Maybe having that be teal and gold alone and not have a chance at purple would be better. Overall, purple traceries are not really valuable, and that would not be an incentive. Anyway, I realize this video is a little bit odd, but I just got motivation to make this video from this post that I randomly ran across, probably because it's relatively new, and I just thought it could be interesting to talk about PvMP, a little bit why I haven't played, a little bit about what it would take me to actually get there, and of course check out the incentives that they have at least thoughts on implementing. I do realize I am missing some context, but this really is from the perspective of a player who would need some incentive to go there. I really don't have any idea what some of the stuff is because I don't play there. So it's kind of interesting because they're trying to incentivize and list out the incentives for a player like me to go there. Yet I'm not too familiar with what the requirements actually are and what is involved in doing all these things. To me, it sounds like a lot of work doing these 5 more key quests, as they call them, and completing up to like 30 other quests in the Etttenmoors. 30 quests is a lot in regular LOTRO and takes a significant amount of time. But this unfamiliarity with some of the stuff in Etttenmoors is where I hope you all will come into play, because I'd really appreciate if you all share your thoughts on these incentives and just maybe on the Etttenmoors PvMP in general, and what it would take for you to go there, or why you do play PvMP, if there are any rewards, or if you just enjoy doing PvP content. That is a possibility. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing for more, or becoming a channel member to support the content, and thanks for watching, everyone.